For years he has tried, but despite coming close, Chad Wienen's championship dreams have consistently been derailed through injuries and bad luck. But today, a chance to right the wrongs and win his first title. We're set for the grand finale of the 2012 AMA Pro ATV Motocross Championship here on Racer TV. Jason Weigand, your host, and the site, the legendary Loretta Lynn Ranch in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. This is ATV Dirt Days, one of the biggest and longest running events in all of ATV Motocross. Lots of things to do and see on and off the track. And yes, we also race the bikes here, both motocross and cross country. So this has really become a mecca of this sport. The only time the ATV Motocross guys get a look at this track is this weekend. No practicing, no special camps throughout the year. We see bench racing there between Josh Creamer and Chad Wienen. They know these are hallowed grounds. The industry shows up in force to check out this. It's one of the biggest races of the year. Typical contenders up front today. We expect the MotoWorks Pan-Am team of John Natalie and Joel Hetrick to be strong. The 20 of Josh Upperman. The Yamaha number 84 of Thomas Brown. But the real focus will be on the number 44 Yamaha of Chad Wienen going for the championship. Riders are now on the starting line. There's Jeff Rastrelli on a Suzuki, a rookie to this class. There's Wienen trying to ignore the pressure and just pretend it's another day at the races. Certainly easier said than done, especially when you've got competition like this. Josh Creamer once again joining us. Series champ just a few years ago, running a part-time schedule on the National Tour this year. He is a contender when he does show up. And the number 1 is John Natalie, who still has a mathematical shot at winning this title. Joel Hetrick, third in the series, certainly a threat to win the race and was fastest qualifying today. And there's Joe Bird, the veteran who is also a Tennessee native. So we'll see if Bird can run up front on a track he's had a lot of success on in the past. Last-minute preparations as riders and mechanics try to form the perfect rut behind the start gate, try to get the best jump off of the line. Scenario today, Wienen basically just has to finish both motos in order to wrap up the title. So he'll try to run for the win and the number 1 plate. Let's go racing. And it's one of the Hondas out front. And I am not sticking my neck out that much to say that this SSI Decals Whole Shot Award goes to Josh Upperman on the Baldwin Honda. I'll tell you what, they have the best starting combination in this sport. Last couple of years, this guy's been nailing starts. You have one of the MotoWorks Pan-Ams right behind him. That's Hetrick, who had the ATVRiders.com Fast Qualifying Award, as we mentioned before. So he certainly knows how to carve a fast lap. But can he find a line to get around Upperman and use that speed? Upperman's certainly going to try to be stingy with it. And I believe that was Wienen at the number 3 spot, just trying to be safe today to clinch the title. Battle is on for the number 1 spot. Hetrick not wasting any time going after Upperman. And you see a lot of the ups and downs built into this track, a lot of jumps on the inside, trying to take the speed out of the shorter line. And hopefully that leads to some better racing and some passing opportunities. Hetrick trying to figure out the right way to go. They've also watered the track here right before the moto, so things are probably a little bit more slippery than the riders saw in practice, and they're all processing that information as quickly as possible. Upperman a few years ago was the young hotshot in the game. Now Hetrick is the man they talk about as the young gun, and they're meeting in the middle here in a spectacular battle through the finish line area. Hetrick just trying to find a way through. Now they're going to hook back on straight away. To their left are the famous billboards. Put the pictures up, some of the best motocross riders in the world who raced here. And there's Wienen lurking in 3rd. Josh Creamer in 4th. And I believe that's Natalie coming through next. So all the big hitters are up front. And I think that's why you are seeing Upperman and Hetrick just go at it so intensely. They know that with these good starts, they could potentially open up a little bit of a gap and make life difficult on the riders trying to catch them. But they've got to be careful not to slow each other up and let everyone else close the gap. So a lot of different strategies at play here all at one time. Here's Hetrick around the outside. One of those anthills, as they call them, on the inside for Upperman, and that might slow him enough. Now an inside bump for Hetrick, but he negotiates it better and takes over the lead. So the kid out of Pennsylvania now to the number 1 spot. Upperman going to try to hitch a ride and stay with him. Like I said, they want to maintain the gap they built up here for the opening laps of what's going to be a 20-minute moto. Right now, Joel Hetrick, fastest in practice and leading moto number 1 at Loretta Lynn Ranch. Can he hang on? Stay with us. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am and by Amsoil. You're watching Racer TV on the NBC Sports Network. Jason Wygant giving you the call, and Joel Hetrick leading the way. This is the famous 10 Commandments section. That's 10 whoops, which can be attacked in a multitude of ways, and they are attacking in a multitude of ways. Josh Upperman on the red machine, the Honda, under intense pressure. Wait a minute. A little mistake back there. Josh Kramer, I think, stalled his machine coming out of a corner. He was running in 4th. As Hetrick gets away, Upperman dealing with pressure from Chad Wienen, who is 3rd. 4th was Kramer with that mistake. I think John Natalie might have been able to get around him. There's Upperman and Wienen 2nd and 3rd. Kramer did lose a position, but he loses it to the Yamaha of Thomas Brown. The Texas native was 6th early, but he has gotten around Natalie and now around Kramer to move up to the number 4 spot. Focus on this battle for 2nd between Upperman and Wienen. And it looks like Kramer now has gotten back around Brown. And then there is Natalaie. Natalaie in a must-win situation today. But really, as far as the championship is concerned, even if he went out and won in the manner that his teammate Hetrick is doing right now, he would still need some bad luck from Wienen to get this title. So it's really no different than any other race. He's just out there to race for himself, try to win the thing. It's not like he can really control his own destiny. Controlling it right now is Hetrick, who's already gone into the 10 Commandments, and here's your 2nd place battle with Upperman and Wienen. And they have distanced themselves just a bit from that battle, as look at Brown trying to get Kramer back. They swapped it up a few times through here the last couple of laps with the veteran Natalie on the outside looking in. Hetrick another lap down. He's pulled a nice gap over Upperman, who's done a great job of holding Wienen at bay. And look at this battle with Natalie and Kramer. Thomas Brown back in front of them, and they are just going at it like the title was on the line between the two of them. Meanwhile, Joel Hetrick ignoring all of that. Hetrick has pulled a massive lead, about 10 seconds on this battle, and his fastest lap, a 1:36, untouchable. Most of these guys running 1:38 lap times, a few getting into the 1:37s, but no one has run 1:36s like Hetrick. And you know what? This season has been like you'd expect from a young gun like him. There have been times where he has the speed to run with anyone. The consistency has not quite been there. He is not always able to unleash this type of speed, but that is something that comes with experience. What you can't teach is speed like this, and he's got it to burn. Joel Hetrick just dominating this moto today. And that'll certainly be something to think about going into the offseason as we shift back to this battle for 2nd, Upperman and Wienen. I've got to wonder if Wienen isn't taking a little something off the fastball, as they say, knowing the title is on the line. He would like to get ahead of Upperman for sure, but what he does not want to have happen is a tangle up, catch wheels, flip over, crash, injury, mechanical problems. He's just trying to stay safe. So maybe that's affecting this battle for the number 2 spot. Upperman's going to say, hey, if you're not going to challenge me for it, I will be glad to keep it. Now it's Natalaie in 4th. I could barely keep up with the order. No, now I see it's the Yamaha of Brown again, but Natalaie in front of Kramer. This has been a spectacular battle behind them. Look at how close they are right now. And at one point, Natalaie was the caboose of that train, and now he is pulling everyone else along. Time is up in this moto, 1 lap to go. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Hetrick is going to win it. The drama left, well, Wienen could wrap up the title if this plays out the way it's playing out right now. He just needs to finish in front of Natalaie. He could take the pressure off for Moto 2. But Hetrick's going to learn something with this. He's going to go into 2013 knowing he has the speed to run with anyone or maybe beat anyone. Wienen's got different goals right now. He just wants that championship. And Upperman, well, wait a minute. Upperman is serving almost as a buffer here while Wienen is camped out on the back of the number 20. Natalaie making a last-ditch effort to close in on Wienen. And that could change things dramatically here. Last lap, and Natalaie has really eaten into the gap that Wienen and Upperman had, but time is running out. Only one turn to go, for example, for your leader, Joel Hetrick. And when he wins like this, man, you would think it's boring, but he is so spectacular to watch. It doesn't matter how big the gap is. It's exciting, and there's the checkered flag. Great win for Hetrick, and a great job taking second for Upperman, dealing with the pressure down the stretch. But that should be enough for Wienen to wrap up the title. More on that when we return. Stay with us. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am and by Amsoil. We've got the 2013 AMA Pro ATV Motocross Championship schedule ready to go. We're going to kick it off at Ionia Pass in Washington, Georgia in March. We're going to race all the way through, yes, right here at Loretta Lynn Ranch in Tennessee next August. So we will see if Chad Wienen can put together the kind of performance in 2013 that he has in 2012. The championship essentially wrapped up with one moto to go, but with a third place in the first moto, he would like to go out as an overall winner. And we'll save the championship celebration for after this final moto, and let's focus on going racing. Looks like Josh Creamer going to grab the SSI Decals Hole Shot Award. Hey, look at that in second. Joe Bird. Yeah, good to see the former series champ right there in contention. And he's got a lot of fans in this neck of the woods. This is his home state. And Bird knocking on the door. And in fact, Joe Bird, I thought for a second in a line dial, didn't take the lead. Who's that at the number 3 spot? It is Natalaie, Bird's old rival. These two not strangers to each other at all. Going to be good to see them duke it out for second. Look at how the lines have come together here in this second moto. Bird able to duck inside and outside at times. Try to put some tracks in on the number 9 of Creamer. A lot of water down on the track here for Moto 2 as well. Into the 10 Commandments we go. You can just hear the way they wind these things out. There's no perfect way to get through that section. I don't know what to call it. It's not quite a rhythm section. It's not quite a whoop section. It's somewhere in between. Somewhere in between right now is Natalaie, who has gotten around Bird. So he is now the meat in this sandwich. The way Natalaie and Creamer duked it out in the first moto, we saw at the top of our show. Well, we could be set for a great second moto duel here. Yamahas of Brown and Wienen trying to get in the mix. It's going to be interesting. Creamer has played a real spoilers role since coming back into this series a couple of weeks ago at Unadilla. Won a moto there, and he definitely has the speed to mix it up with anyone. Natalaie not impressed by that. He's saying, get out of my way. I want to go for the moto win and end this year on a high note. And where is your first moto winner who dominated that race, Joel Hetrick? These two guys are not waiting around for him. They are going at it themselves, and Natalaie around the outside of the big beach turn here, and then he's going to turn it in the inside, and here comes Creamer right back at him, and they almost come together. Woo, great racing between these two. Now Thomas Brown has caught up to Bird, and he has brought Chad Wienen with him, so two different battles to watch, one for the number 1 spot and one for the number 3 position. Now, once you give Natalaie the lead, he is going to be stingy with it. The guy does not know the meaning of quit. He does not give up. You put the pressure on him, he just simply ignores it, and he's not going to fade down the stretch. The fitness, not an issue with Natalaie, and look at him pour it on now, starting to get away from Creamer. Natalaie is such a competitive guy. You would think that losing that championship today would deflate him a bit, but I think in his veteran years, even the Ironman has got a little bit different perspective at it. It's still been a very good season. He still has a factory ride, still making a good living in the sport he loves. So he's not going to come out of here feeling like a broken man. And you can kind of see that, where he has been running on adrenaline in this moto. He was not messing around in the opening laps, making passes, now in the lead, now pulling away. He's not demoralized at all. Now look at this battle. Bird, Brown, Wienen, and Hetrick now beginning to show some form toward the front of the pack. And I think that battle for third in this second moto is going to rage just as intensely as it did in moto number 1. And this time it's Natalie getting away. Now for Natalie, the attention shifts to the overall. If he wins this moto, that really comes down to where Hetrick, who just made a move on Wienen, is. You've also got Rastrelli on the Suzuki, the rookie in there challenging Wienen. Wienen has definitely backed it way off in this moto. Hetrick is the one to watch. Natalie was 4th in moto 1. Here he is leading moto number 2. Will a 4th and a 1st be good enough to win the overall when we combine both scores today? It really depends on where the first moto winner, Hetrick, can get to after this bad start. The tiebreaker is the better finish in moto 2, so if he and Natalie both have a 1st and a 4th, Natalie winning moto 2 will win the overall. So Hetrick has to get into the top 3 to preserve today's overall win. So the buffer zone is this: Creamer in 2nd and Thomas Brown in the number 3 position on the number 84. And there's Hetrick trying to get around Bird. This is going to be quite the battle with the overall for the afternoon hanging in the balance. So you'll want to stay with us here on Racer TV. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am and by Amsoil. John Natalaie continues to lead the way here at the ATV Dirt Days National at Loretta Lynn Ranch. He finished 4th in our first race earlier. We combined both scores to determine an overall winner, so we'll see if he can finish first. When we combine those scores, it depends on where the 88 of Joel Hetrick finishes. And I don't think Hetrick is going to get it done. You have the 2 Yamahas of Brown and Wienen coming through, and Hetrick no longer in that battle. Still in it, though, for sure, is Natalie, who is just absolutely burning this track up out front. He has been in great form in this second moto. Had a little lull for a few laps in moto 1. Was then eventually able to make some passes, get some riders back, like this one, Josh Creamer, in a great battle, and then really uncorked it here in the final moto of the year. And I think that shows that Natalie, he might be one of the older guys of this game, but he still has got game. And if he's back out here next year, he will be a contender once again for the title, as he has always been. Gap is about 4 seconds right now over Creamer. That is not a gigantic lead, but Natalie knows how to manage it. I don't think he's going to ride over his head to try to get further ahead than this. This is enough of a gap, and he'll be happy to take the checkered flag, barring disaster. So we'll put the focus back on these two, the Yamaha boys, the T. Brown Yamaha versus the Wienen Motorsports Yamaha. And Yamaha, by the way, has never won this championship. Hard to believe, especially considering the great success that this YFZ 450 has had in cross-country racing and how purpose-built it is right off the showroom floor to really do some damage on a motocross track. But this would be the first ever title for the Blue Mark. So regardless of where these guys finish, they're going to be very happy with this year. 1 lap to go for the season for John Natalie, and then he'll have to give up that number 1 plate. He's not going to be happy about that for sure. He'll be back with a vengeance, I can guarantee it. Wienen putting the icing on the cake, looking for a solid result today that would result in that championship. And these guys all know what it's like. Here's Creamer in 2nd. He has won this title before. Natalie, he's won it several times, including last year. They all know what it's like to run the gauntlet, to run with that pressure of the points lead for the majority of the season. This time it didn't quite work out for Natalie, but still a season he can be proud of. And with this moto win, he'll also take the overall here at ATV Dirt Days. Big congrats out to John Natalie for taking the win. Good run by Creamer for 2nd, and battling all the way down to the final corner, Brown and Wienen. And Brown takes a look over his shoulder and just edges out fellow Yamaha rider. Wienen says, you know what? That's all right. I've got enough points to win the title. Here are the results for the day. Wienen on the podium along with Hetrick and Natalie. How crazy that that round went 5-3 and ends up 6th overall. Just the way the math broke down today. Everyone was consistent up front. Brown's still pretty happy because the Yamaha team has got themselves a #1 plate. The celebration is about to get underway for Chad Wienen. Let's talk to him.
Awesome weekend this weekend. We ended up 3rd overall, but most importantly, we got the #1 plate. So, I mean, coming off of last year, serious back injury, and, you know, just, I knew what I wanted to do, and I made up my mind that we were going to go at it 100% on our own thing, and, you know, Yamaha in our backs, along with the Wienen Motorsports SSI decals and Walsh Racecraft, you know, Max's tires, Fox shocks, you know, huge supporters of ours, and also FMF exhaust, and big shout out to them, and also, you know, just being able to come back, it's been bittersweet, and I'm just so pumped right now that it hasn't quite settled in yet, but it's going to settle in tonight, and I'm really excited. It's an awesome opportunity, and you know, I'm just stoked. This is awesome.
And the victor gets the spoils. A great season for Chad Wienen, 6 wins in 10 rounds. And also congrats to today's overall winner, John Natalie. And thanks to you for watching the AMA Pro ATV Motocross Championship all year long. For everyone at Racer TV, I'm Jason Wienen. Thanks for watching, and congrats to Chad Wienen, your 2012 AMA Pro ATV Motocross champion.